the best way to start a new era. Percy doesn't even get a new whistle. Finally a good one. Since when was Henry horrible at pulling passengers? So the engines can drive themselves now. It's interesting seeing Annie and Clarabelle get some speaking roles. Percy's anxiety is actually justified. Emily's character dialed up to 111. Everyone left me out trope. Emily's pretty close to her season 7 persona. I love the Thomas and James dynamic. Gordon and Percy make such an interesting pair together. Why would railway inspectors give contests for the cleanest engine? The tortoise and the hare, but with steam trains. If only Tender Engines was adapted as in the books. This episode was a chore to sit through. The moral has been done to death. Emily's bossiness actually works. Why are the fish being transported in open trucks? Poor Trevor. Great sets and music. The start of Toby's downward spiral. Wish we saw more done with James and Salty. The people of Sodor are really that stupid? First fish, now cocoa powder? What's next? What exactly happened here? Could have been better, but it also could have been worse. Percy's best hit era episode. Why are the driver and firemen so non-existent? If only Molly was used more. Thomas gets it right, but with milk. Mighty Mac have such a cool design. Thomas and Henry make such a pair together. Emily is such a... Sharon Miller's first episode. Was that a new horn that Rusty got? Why are you whining? Thomas and the Rumors done right. You can't win this one, Toby. You just can't. I mean... it's better than Thomas Gets It Right. It's interesting seeing Peter and Sam have the lead role. The engines of Sodor really hate each other this season. They really loved playing with Henry's love for nature. At least my boy was in character. When will people remember that Daisy reformed in season 2? Why would engines have their own specific trucks? I love the Rusty and Duncan dynamic. I think Molly should be the main character.
It could have been worse.
Why would Edward worry about being scrapped? I thought looking for things wasn't really useful, Thomas. James and Edward are such an underrated dynamic. Diesel getting spooked is actually a cool idea. A dumb episode with some nice conflict.
Guess who's back again.
An engine and plane rivalry episode? Neat. This episode hardly had a plot, but it's still fine. Yeah, it's dumb, but it's funny. Duncan has a crew, right? A good concept that was executed poorly. It's interesting seeing Toby pull the Express. Henry and Gordon are such an amazing dynamic. Annie and Clarabelle are right the behind him. Scarloey and Renas are the only problem with this episode. Toby's best post-season 7 episode. Of course he has no engine, he's a breakdown crane.
I have several questions.
The most underrated episode of the show. Sodor at night looks great in any era. That crash is epic. At least it's better than Topped Off Thomas. The old bridge take it up to 11. This season really loves playing with its dynamics. Twice. The equivalent of stalking someone. I love the Duncan and James dynamic. Renas is actually a character. What did I say about looking for things? James and Edward are such an underrated dynamic. An interesting concept that was executed decently. The Three Strikes formula done right. Whiff was handled much better in CGI. Kinda. The Great Race done somewhat better. Character development. Oh wait, Hector's a really great character. Hey look guys, Donald and Douglas are back. Stop looking for things. First Thomas, now Henry? When will you go slow? Thomas, Scarloey, Renas, and Rusty are so out of character. The reason why everyone hates the hit era. Pretty fun to watch. The Frosty Friend of season 11. I mean, it could be worse. Engines don't play, they work. Toby's worst episode ever. A pretty stupid episode. The closest to Out of Puff we've got. That crash is so dumb. The most boring and forgettable episode of the entire show. Why are the engines letting Duncan steal their work? I like Sir Handel's new character. Duncan had a lot of good dynamics this era. Freddy is Not the same Freddy we all know. At least the old bridge was understandable. Madge is such an underrated character. Best thing he did with the models by far. Why is Toby placed behind Edward? If only Edward was more in character. Interesting seeing Rosie get the lead role. Also poor Stephanie, The Magic Lamp, the sequel. Not as bad as Henry's Magic Box, but still pretty bad. Overused plotline, but great design for Hank. I don't know how to feel about this one. An excellent episode. Where did Colin come from? Is Thomas really that blind? Duncan's weakest hit era episode. James and Hector had great character development. So much wasted potential. Thomas and Diesel get no repercussions for their actions. At least Gordon's still in his classic character. The story is so lackluster. Thomas refusing to ask for help? Third time this season. Great character selection, but pretty bland story. Skarloey is so out of character. Not the best way to end off the model era, but it could be worse.